Shall we start, ma'am?
Yes.
Thank you. All our dreams can come true if we have the courage to pursue them. Walt Disney. A wonderful afternoon to one and all present here. We, Department of Placement, delighted to organize this remarkable event. How information and interest your whole in your introduction speech in an interview. Welcoming is an art and a heritage which is being passed down by our ancestors. To welcome this event, I'll call upon Miss Deepa, Placement Officer, to address the gathering.
Good afternoon to all. I am very happy to welcome you all for this webinar. How informative and impressive is your introductory speech in an interview? Organized by Placement Cell. I am very happy to welcome our trustee members, Mr. Koshi, Head MJC, Mrs. Elizabeth Koshi, Head Operation MJC, Mr. Babu P. Varu, Secretary MJC, Mr. Vinod Matthew, CEO MJC. Once again, I welcome all the trustee members for this webinar. Welcome you, sir. Welcome you, ma'am. My hearty welcome to our resource person, Mr. M. Joel JESU Roy, Communication Trainer, RVS College of Arts and Science. Welcome you, sir. I extend my warm welcome to our principal, Dr. T.H. Nasima ma'am, for her presence. Welcome you, ma'am. And I would like to welcome Dr. Ravi, Principal, Michael Job College of Education, and Mrs. Anita, Principal, Michael Job Matriculation Higher Secondary School. Welcome you, sir. Welcome you, ma'am. Next, I welcome Mr. Kurila, Managing Operator, Mr. Joseph Elias, Manager Infrastructure, and Mrs. Minnie Joseph Warden. Welcome you, sir. Welcome you, ma'am. Then I would like to welcome our Vice Principal and Head Department of Commerce with CA and IT, Mrs. S.R. Dhanlakshmi ma'am. Welcome you, ma'am. Finally, I would welcome all our HODs and faculty members and my dear students. Welcome you all. I hope this session will be informative for both students and faculties. Once again, I welcome you all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your words of welcome. Now I call upon our beloved principal, ma'am, to address the gathering.
A very good afternoon to one and all present here. I'm really pleased to welcome everyone out here to this webinar session today on how informative and impressive is your introductory speech in an interview conducted by the placement cell of the Michael Job College of Arts and Science. Appreciations to the placement cell for organizing this webinar. It's really nice to see the presence of Mr. Matthew, CEO MJC, Dr. Rabi, Principal B.Ed College, Ms. Anita, Principal School, Mr. Babu, the Trustee and Secretary. It's indeed a great pleasure for me to welcome our guest of honor today and I should tell my colleague and friend, Mr. Joel JESU Roy, Communication Trainer, RVS College of Arts and Science. We were colleagues and friends at RVS for a period of more than, I think, 10 years. A person of ethics and integrity, very humble, dedicated, and known for his sincerity. Mr. Joel JESU Roy is an engineering graduate in computer science from Karunya University, Coimbatore. He has worked in HCL for some time, and then he got graduated in MBA, specializing in HR and marketing. He has worked in educational institutions across as a trainer in the process of getting the learners employment ready. He has trained more than 2,000 students from various courses, starting from the Arts and Science College to even the nursing students. He is a freelance corporate trainer, and he's been awarded the Best All-Rounder Award for the service during his tenure at RVS College of Arts and Science. It's really no surprise because I know the work you always render, Mr. Joel. He has also served as a placement trainer, during which he used to train the students on the various arenas like self-introduction, effective resume writing, group discussion. During his service at RVS College, I've seen Mr. Joel just running about each rooms and taking classes, training the students from. He has the whole hours in the college. He'll be very occupied. A very talented youngster, I should say. He also runs a YouTube channel called Trainer Talkies. Actually, we were searching for your ID, like Joel. You were not found in the yeah. Now you joined in Trainer Talkies. Later on, I realized, okay, he's joined through this. That's really nice. Please, I would request all the audience out here to subscribe his channel so that you can have a continuous training also. The first impression. So let me also just give you a gist of the topic today, what he's going to take. The first impression is the last impression. And once you nail your introduction in an interview or answer, though you answer the customary HR interview questions, before that you have some extra brownie points, like you can introduce yourself in any manner, how you can impress him. So let's know how to overcome this struggle of self-introduction and go ahead. So let's learn it from you, Mr. Joel. So the session is yours. Before that, I would like to welcome Mr. Matthew to share a few words here so that you will also know about the MJC institution also. He would just render a few words.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Joel and all my colleagues and the students. In fact, I would say that it's a great honor and a privilege to have you here. When Dr. Nasima was going through your resume, you seem to have an impressive academic as well as a professional career. And I'm sure by looking at the kind of work you have done, your inputs is going to be very, very useful for our children who are going to get into their first job or, probably get into their interviews or, in this COVID time. So, I would say I'm extremely thankful to you because, as Dr. Nasima would have explained to you, we are an NGO. We are supporting a lot of girls who cannot otherwise go to, autonomous colleges or anywhere else. But I can be very proudly say that, we can say that we here at the management, along with the teachers of these institutions, 3 institutions, have been able to provide them the best and best online training, even much better than any of the autonomous or the highly fees-paying institutions. So that way, we are also have the immense privilege of having principals like Dr. Nasima, who has contacts like you, who can be brought in and who give a lot of their assistance. Thank you so much once again. And I will not steal away your time, but because I know you are going to on a very important and a very relevant topic. Thank you, Roy, once again. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So the awaiting moment has come. So I just hand over the session to Mr. Joel, sir. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to praise God for all the words that Dr. Nasima has spoken about, and I am not really sure whether I am worthy of it, but it is all by the grace of God. That's the first and foremost thing I would like to tell the audience, and thank you very much for welcoming me. I would like to thank Nazima Madam and also Matthew sir and also I should also thank Miss Celine Christie also and also the audience. So thank you very much. And I'm a bit afraid if I'm going to make sense to you all for the next 1 hour or not. So, but let me just share whatever I have learned or whatever I have taught to the students of a decade almost, right? So my name is Joel, and I'm married with a small and blessed with a small little girl. She is 7 years old, and I've started my journey with RVS in 2011. And as Madam told all of you, we have traveled together for some time, and after that Madam has joined a different institution and I'm still with RVS. So I must also not forget to say that when I joined RVS, Nazima Madam was sitting in the interview panel, and she was one among them who interviewed me. So I must also not forget to say that. So that's how we have started, but she mentioned the word colleague. But
thank you for the.
I'm actually humbled, Madam, because you recruited me, but you called me colleague, so that's a great thing. So thank you so much for that. And yes, of course. Good afternoon, girls. And see, as a placement trainer, I have seen how the corporates recruit. And I would like to give a small introduction of the interview process first. And then I would like to get into the topic of the day. All right. So, which language would be comfortable for you guys, girls? Will it be English or Tamil? If you can, if any one of you can reply me, respond me, that would be great. This question is to the girls, not to the management of the college. But this question is to, maybe I shall ask Gayatri, Gayatri. Gayatri, are you comfortable with English, or should
Yes,
I use
sir.
a different
The
language?
English is okay, sir. Better, sir.
Okay, okay, fantastic. So will that be okay for all of you girls?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Great. I like that spirit. Very nice, very nice. Okay. So any interview has got three rounds of 3 rounds. All right. So the first round is an aptitude test. The second round is a group discussion, and the third round is a personal interview where you have commonly asked HR questions and also some technical questions. Okay. So when you get into the first round, all right. So I would like to divide the first round into 4 parts. When you attend an aptitude test, you have to prepare yourself for these 4 areas. Okay. Number 1 is numerical aptitude. Number 2 is verbal aptitude, which is English. Number 3 is logical reasoning. It's all about your thinking ability. And the last part is your technical, area. Technical area is not mandatory. Some companies have the habit of asking questions from your C, C++, or accounts and commerce or whatever your technical area is. But some companies, they don't have that kind of habit. So, but these 3 things, numbers, English, and logical reasoning, these 3 things are very, very important, because I could see a lot of very intelligent people who can answer all the technical questions, but they cannot clear the first round of interview. So the focus should be equally divided on all these 3 areas: your aptitude test, your GD preparation, and also the final round of interview. Okay, so that's the overall idea of any interview. But you should see also one more thing, that English plays a very vital role in all the 3 rounds. You see, you don't need mathematics in the second round, group discussion, but you need English, right? Sometimes they ask technical questions in the last round. Sometimes they don't ask. I have seen last year. I can give you a number of examples, but last year or the year before last year, I'm sure some of you might have heard of the name Banariaman Institute of Technology, which is near Satyamangalam. TCS have come to recruit IT graduates from Banariaman College. And there was one guy who lived in the first floor of one of my relatives. They lived in the ground floor. And this guy was studying in Banariaman, and he was preparing. He was a very good at technical stuff. He was a techie, and he was preparing, for the technical round of interview very much. And he went for the third round. He cleared the first 2 rounds, and he went for the third round. But the HR asked him very general, common questions. And he was, after the interview, when somebody asked him, how did you do the interview? He was so afraid. He said, I don't think so. I will pass this interview. And the other person asked, why? What is the reason? He said, because I was never asked any technical question. But after some time, when the results came out, to his surprise, he was one among them who got shortlisted for the job. And he was so much surprised. And this is just one example I have given you. Even when I was studying, I'm a passed out from the year 2006. There were, I'm not very good in computer science or programming or anything like that. I could speak a little bit of English. All. That is all what I learned on all my 4 years of education. But some of my friends who were playing around with me, who were always with us, they went for the final round of interview with Wipro Technologies. I did not even attend Wipro, but these people went for the final round of Wipro. We were so jealous about them. And finally, they got the job also. They went for the last round of interview. People were, they were preparing so much for the technical round. And we were a bit skeptic. We were, these people are playing with us. How will these people clear the technical round of interview? They don't even know how to code A plus B is equal to C. But to our surprise, to our shock, I would rather say, those people also got placed. And when we asked and when we inquired them, so what were the questions asked in the last round? They said, these HRs have asked me to sing a song. All right. So what I'm trying to say, I'm not trying to say that you will never be asked technical questions. No, that's not my point. I'm trying to say, sometimes they may not ask technical questions also, but without English, you cannot crack the last round of interview. That's what I'm trying to say. So in all the areas, in all the 3 rounds of interview, English is the mandatory thing. Okay, so please learn English. That's just for your awareness. I just wanted to say and give you an overall structure of the interview. All right. So to prepare for group discussion, you must definitely read newspaper and watch news every day. Okay, because almost all the topics are the current affairs. Okay, if you do not know what's happening around, then it will be very, very difficult for you to speak in a group discussion. And I've also seen people who can who can speak good English, but they don't have any points on the topic, and they will keep mum. But I have also seen students who cannot speak proper English, but those people keep watching or keep reading the news. So what they can do, they will, with the wrong English they know, they struggle and speak something. So learning English is important, but at the same time, if you want to perform well in group discussion, watch news, read news. That's the most important thing. Okay. And for the 3rd round of interview, definitely you have to listen to your classes for technical answers. And also, in case you're asked a few commonly asked HR questions, there is a website called indiabix.com. There is a list of commonly asked questions. INDIABIX.com. Maybe some of you know it, but just check it. There are a number of questions listed out, and you can prepare answers for those questions accordingly. Please don't, it's a kind of forum where you can see the answers of those questions also. But if you are going to read, memorize, and repeat the same answer, the interviewer will definitely know it. So any answer has to be original. It has to be from your heart, from your mind, from your life. Okay, that's important. All right. So prepare for your HR questions from the story you have from you. It has to come within. All right. So make it original. Because there is a question. I'll give you an example. There's a question called, what is the difference between confidence and overconfidence? Right? And there is a guy who writes on these forums and says, okay, confidence is like, believing that you can do. Overconfidence is believing that only you can do. So that's a very, very standard answer, which has been used by, interviewees for 300 years. And even today, people use the same answer. Okay, so you should not do it like that. Okay, try answering on your own. All right. So this is about the entire process of interview. All right. But when you go for the final round of interview, there is one thing that that constitutes the 50% of the whole interview, which is called self-introduction. Okay, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. Right. Why do I say if you can do a good self-introduction, you are almost through in the interview, because as a good self-introduction is like, I'll give you a small example. I don't think so it's going to be a bad one. Marriage is very, very respectful. I respect it a lot. So I'll use this example. Okay, don't mind. In case, imagine that you have completed your degree, and you have got a job. You have worked for about 3-4 years. Down the line, your parents are they have decided to get you married to someone. They have already checked the boy's profile on the internet, or through a broker, or through the church, or through somebody, a relative, whatever. And now there comes a day when your parents want you to meet that family in their house. So அந்த வடை பஜ்ஜி சாப்பிட்ற அந்த ப்ரோக்ராம் இருக்குல்ல, அதுதான், that's what I'm talking about. Okay, so you all go there, and for half an hour, you eat the vada, they give you some good coffee and all that. You all have everything, and the elders talk to each other. And finally, what happens? After everything, what happens? The elders will say, okay, பையன் பொண்ணோட பேசட்டும், இல்ல பொண்ணு பையனோட பேசட்டும். Will they say it or not? No. And that's a very crucial point here. Okay. No, they will allow you both to get out of the house or get to the backside of the house, whatever. They will ask you to speak for about 5 minutes, right? So they will give you that opportunity. Now, when you meet that boy for the first time in your life, you have never known him, and it is your parents' choice. You have never known him, and for all your life you've been waiting for this guy, and that's the first time you're going to talk to this boy, right? Now, how will you present yourself? If you don't present yourself properly, what will happen? You are dooming your own life, don't you? So I would like to compare this example with the self-introduction. So an interview is very much like this event. You're meeting the interviewer for the very first time in life. And if you don't impress the interviewer in the first speech you are giving, then it's very, very difficult for you to crack the interview. You have to struggle a lot. But if you're going to do a fantastic self-introduction, then I think 50% of the interview is over in your favor. Okay. So, you have to just do other formalities to complete the interview. That's all about it. So that's the impact a good self-introduction creates on your interview result. Okay. So, for me, or a self-introduction is very, very important. This happened when I was a student in 2006, I believe. We attended Dell Computers interview, okay, in Karunya University. So I was just, you have all these hi-fi guys there. I was one person who was from a village who studied in Tamil medium till 8th standard. And I was, I learned English. I learned spoken English only after joining college. But these guys were all from Dubai and here and there. They all speak English. When they came, they were speaking in English. So that's how they were. So there was one self-introduction. Okay, this guy started like this. It was a bright, cold night, and there fell from a star from the heavens, and the parents named him Karthik. It's just a self-introduction. But the way that person, that student, made it was fantastic. He made it sound like a poem. And do you think that boy would have got rejected by the interviewer? He was, he must have been one of the first guys who have got shortlisted by the interviewer, right? So, making your self-introduction interesting and informative is very, very important. Okay, so I'll see to my best if whatever I can deliver it today, please try to follow it. Okay, so here is a PowerPoint for you. I hope I can present it. I have the rights to present it. So let me just try presenting. Yeah, I can present it. Please have a look at the presentation. So I have named my presentation Impress First and Impress Best. I have taken the life story of one person and I have taken all the photographs from Facebook itself. Okay, so if you look at somebody's Facebook, you can all see the crap, right? But look at this boy's Facebook. It looks like to me it looks like what do you say, a resume. Okay, so that's the topic, not this boy. My title is Impress First and Impress Best. So I'm talking about this man. Yeah, look at this. So you can see only this person across the whole PowerPoint. So when we do our self-introduction, how do we start? Right? So always started with a pleasant smile. And many of us, when we talk to our elders, when we talk in the professional forum, many of us still, we say hi. But hi is so informal, which is not, which will not be, considered very respectful by the elders. And even, I'm not too old, but when a student tells me, hi, sir, I don't feel good. If that's the case for me, and I'm sure an HR will not like it. So start your conversation with a good morning or a good afternoon or a good evening, whatever. Otherwise, you can say hello, sir, not hi, sir. So that's important. So the information that I'm going to give you are very, very simple. But if we are going to make mistakes in the simple things, then it is very, very difficult for us to impress the interviewer. So that's why I'm focusing on these very simple but very important things. All right. So once you say hello, then you tell your name. Right? How do you say your name? Most of us, I have seen this. Myself is, for an example, I don't know whether there is a Gomati here or not. Just for an example, I'm using this word. Myself is Gomati or myself Gomati. Right? So this is what we are saying. Right? But that's actually absolutely wrong. The reason is the word myself is actually is not either a noun or a pronoun. It is not at all a noun or a pronoun. It is called a reflexive pronoun. Okay, so to explain this, I'll come up with an example. Sometimes you want to say, "I did this job." Okay, the translation of the sentence is, "I did this job" is "Na in the valley senjen." Correct. But if you're going to say, I did this job myself, it means, நான் இந்த வேலையை செஞ்சேன் கிடையாது, but நானே இந்த வேலையை செஞ்சேன். Not anybody else, but I. And the myself இருக்குதுல்ல, so it comes back, it reflexes back to you. So that's why it is called reflexive pronoun. Okay. So when you say I, it is non. But when you say myself, it's not non, it is nane. So if you're going to say myself is Gomati, nane Gomati, sir, where yaru illa. That's how it will sound. So you cannot use this word. So avoid saying myself, using myself. So instead you can use I am Gomati or my name is Gomati. Okay, please write it and keep it. If you have a pen and paper handy, please write it and have it. Otherwise, I will share this presentation through your teachers. I am Gomati or my name is Gomati. Either of these two things can be used in your self-introduction. Okay. So after that, definitely you are going to say which place you are from, which means your native place, right? So when you talk about native place, please do not use coming from. Okay. See, coming, incoming, there is an ing. Okay. So when there is an ing, it is continuous tense. Okay. I'm getting into English part. Okay. So if you are going to use a continuous tense, then it becomes a temporary action. So if you are going to say, I am coming from Salem, it does not mean that you belong to Salem or your native place is Salem, but it tells the listener that you are traveling from Salem. Now, maybe you're on the bus or car or airplane, whatever. You understand what I'm trying to say? Now, I am coming is present continuous tense. ing vanda continuous, am vanda present. Present continuous tense talks about an action that is happening at the time of speaking or a temporary action. Okay. அப்போ temporary action பத்தியோ இல்ல அப்போ நடந்துட்டு இருக்கிற ஆக்ஷனை பத்தியோ பேசுற ஒரு ஆக்ஷனை தான் we should explain using present continuous tense. இப்போ நீங்க ஐ எம் கம்மிங் சொன்னீங்கன்னா என்ன சொல்றீங்கன்னா நீங்க ஊர்ல இருந்து வந்துட்டு இருக்கிறீங்கன்னு அர்த்தம். ஐ எம் கம்மிங் ஃப்ரம் சேலம் இருந்து டிராவல் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கிறீங்கன்னு அர்த்தம். ஆனா சேலம் தான் உங்களோட நேட்டிவ் பிளேஸ்னு அர்த்தம் இல்லை. Okay, I hope you are able to differentiate, right? So what should you use? You should use only simple present tense. Don't use present continuous, but use simple present tense. So how will you change the same sentence into simple present tense? Just remove the ing form. Just see if it can fit without an auxiliary verb or not. Otherwise, see if you can use only the auxiliary as a main verb or not. For example, look at the display. I'm from Coimbatore. It's okay. It's not bad. I'm from okay. I'm from Coimbatore. That's okay. I'm from Salem. It's okay. But there is no ing. Parunga. Okay. Otherwise, this is simple present tense. Okay. Otherwise, I come from Salem. Okay. Please write these things down. I come from Salem. Option number 2. Option number 3 is I belong to Salem. Okay, I belong to Salem. Option number 4 is I hail from Salem. I hail from Salem. Right? So in the options, like, you can use any of these things, but not even in one sentence you can see ing form. That's what I'm trying to convey. All right. So use simple present tense when you want to talk about anything that never changes. You cannot change your native place, right? So hello sir, my name is Gomati and I'm from Salem. So it has to be like this. All right. So that's my first page. Look at the second one. Yeah. So once after you complete your the initial part of your introduction, so what you have to talk about? See, I divide self-introduction into 2 parts, right? So when you join a company, what do they actually look for from a candidate? What do you expect from you? For example, if you are going to join a company where there is a vacancy for the post of software programmer. Okay. Now, definitely, they have to employ a software developer. What quality or what qualities do they expect from the students or the candidates? Definitely, they will expect you to good in your studies or your technical aspects. Okay. And the other thing is, they will definitely expect you to be a good human being, a good personality. So these are the 2 things, because no company wants to work with a machine, right? Even machines are given human emotions these days, right? You must have heard of Sophia, right? So in any interview, the interviewer expects you to be technically sound. That's the one that is the first half of the self-introduction. And the second half is a good personality. Personality in the sense, not just the appearance, but also the characteristic features of a human being and whatever. All right. So these are the 2 things that I think you should include in your self-introduction. So I have divided my self-introduction explanation into 2 parts. Okay. In the first half, I'm going to tell you, list a few things which are related only to your technical expertise, which means your studies, your projects, and anything that you have done to improve your technical qualities. Okay. So these are the things. The first thing is your educational background. All right. So when you talk about educational background, right, first thing is your undergraduation degree. All right. You will always start with the highest degree and then go to the lower ones. Right. So the first one is undergraduation, second is 12th standard, and then comes the 10th standard. All right, so don't do it in the other way around. Don't start with 10th standard, which is not so important. Okay, but it is also important, right? So start with the degree, and please do not forget to mention, in case you are somebody who's doing a post graduation, don't forget to say the specialization also. Don't just say BSc or MSc, but also say BSc computer science, BSc whatever, BSc physics, BSc chemistry, whatever. Okay, and name of the institution is also very, very important. It plays a very big role up to in my point of view. I think you must say the name of the institution. All right, because a college like Michael Jobs, right? People respect a lot because it is very much service oriented, and many people know about it also. So it has got some good respect among the industry leaders. But so you have to say the college name also. But at times, we may think, I have studied in a very simple school, sir. Why should I tell? See, when you talk about college, you can very well say the name of your college. But when you talk about your school name, there may come a problem. You don't want to say that you have studied in this particular school because you think it's not very a good school. But I'll tell you, there is an advantage there also. You know how? See, if you speak in English, or if you try to speak in English, okay, and if the school is not so good, this interviewer will think, although he has not studied in a very good school, he has still improved himself and he's trying, or he's speaking in English. Or when you try to make some sense in your speech, you say, okay, what a good student from a bad school. So the credit definitely goes to you. In any which way, it is definitely good for you. If you're from a good school or a good college, fantastic. If you're not from a good school, that is, I would say it is more fantastic. Okay, the reason is, there is an opportunity for you, right? So it is always good to say the name of your college or school. And then the percentage of marks. Okay, here is a trend where people say you should not talk about marks. But my question is, why should not you? See, you have spent almost 12 years of your life just for that one 12th standard mark or 10th standard mark. But if you don't talk about it, then what is its significance? So please mention the 12th standard and the 10th standard marks. And if it's going to be college marks, it may be either be in percentage or in CGPA, right? So please talk about marks also. Okay. So now it's an increasing trend a rising trend where I could see people have started avoiding certain things like the college name sometimes. Some people don't want to say that they belong to this college, but they belong to a better university. Okay, I've seen some Martin Saints now. They don't say I'm from this college, but I studied under Barbier University. They proudly say. But what's so interesting about it? So definitely talk about your school name or college name, whatever. Okay, so when you talk about your educational background, please do not forget to mention these things. Okay, that's after the initial part of your self-introduction. You have to talk about your education and then your project or internship. I do not know how many of you girls have gone for an internship. If you have gone for an internship, fantastic. I would like to appreciate you girls. But if you have not gone for one such, then I suggest all of you I don't just suggest, but I urge all of you to go for an internship. Do it. Even yesterday there was a college placement officer who has posted a message on the HR forum. I have a few students from my MBA college. Does any company have any opportunities for me? Then, after one or 1.5 days, here comes a HR from some company, says, I have a few openings for your students. Please send them. So there are definitely opportunities. If you talk to your placement cell, they will help you girls out. So all of you, please attend the internship, because I'll tell you, internship is something which is very, very similar to a job, because it is not even like your project is up to you. Whether you do it, you don't do it, nobody is going to care till the time of your viva voce, right? But internship is not like that. When you go for an internship in a company, they will put you on hands-on training. They will give you on-the-job training. They will give some work to you. They will ask you to work, and if you're from BCom department, they will ask you to work in the accounts department. If you're from computer science department, they will definitely ask you to help the seniors of the company with their project, probably in coding or testing or in any which way. If you're from an MBA, BPM department or any other department, they will ask you to work with the marketing department. So you get a hands-on experience when you go for this internship. And not just that. See, point number one is you get technically equipped when you go for internship. It's not like a project. It's a group project. So 4 persons are there. 2 persons are very good in doing all these kind of things, and the other 2 they take rest, right? And finally, when the project report is ready, these 2 will say, we have also done with the other 2. Okay, only for the viva they will prepare, right? So it is not going to be like that. Internship will definitely screw your happiness. They will definitely extract work from you, and that is the most important thing I think any student must have. Okay. And not just that. It's not only learning technically during internship, but you will also know how to talk to your colleagues, how to walk inside the campus of that particular company, how to behave inside, how to even send emails to your boss, your manager. You learn so many other things, the organizational culture of the company. Right? So, when you go for internship, there are so many things that you will learn. And now imagine, you and maybe Prabha is one girl and Uma is other girl. Prabha has attended an internship with TCS for 3 months. Okay. Uma has enjoyed her 3 months of holidays at home, watching IPL every day, eating potato chips and being a couch potato for the 3 months. Okay. Now, after the lockdown, after these 3 months, they get back to second year and they go for interview, or third year and they go for interview. And here is another company who is trying to recruit IT professionals, right? And both Uma and Prabha are attending. Now the interviewer interviews both of them. During the self-introduction, Prabha explains beautifully her experience, her learning, on the technical aspects and also on the organizational culture during the interview. But Uma has nothing to say about it. And now the interviewer looks at both of these girls. Both speak excellent English. Both are good technically. But now Prabha has the advantage of attending an internship. Now you don't have to teach Prabha how to enter a company, how to talk to others in a company, how to send emails inside a company, how to approach anybody for any issue, how to do certain level of programming skills, programming. So lot of things what the interviewer expects could be seen from Prabha's resume, but those things are missing in Uma's resume. Now you please girls tell me, who do you think will be the interviewer's choice, Prabha or Uma? Definitely it's going to be Prabha, right? So that's the kind of impact an internship creates during a self-introduction, during an interview. So whether you, I don't know whether you clear your subjects or not, whether you go for paper presentation or not, whether you go for symposiums or not, but go for internship. That's the most important thing. All right. Now there is a guy from my college. Okay, he's an MBA graduate. He has also completed his MA in English literature. But again, he wanted to do MA also, MBA also. And this guy is an interesting guy. You know, in the first lockdown, I believe it was 10 months. We were locked down for 10 months, right? From March till December or something, we were locked down in 2020. We started doing his internships, sitting at home, doing online internships. Okay. He started working, so much of work, so much of work. And after the completion of every internship, he used to message me, sir, I have completed a 2 months internship with this company. And here is my certificate. And what did you do? I have done this, and this. So I've called so many thousand customers I have called and I spoke to them, whatever. And he started doing it after March. And by the time the first lockdown got over, I wanted to tell him, come on, boy, stop it. Stop doing your internships. You know how many internships he has completed? Not just 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 or 7. 20 internships he has completed. No internship is just like that internship. He has worked everywhere, gained good knowledge, and also gained a good name from every company he has worked in, from most of the companies he has worked with. So, so that important is internship, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so another. I have not even started explaining what you should speak about internship, but internship is so important. So that's the reason I wanted to spend some time on internship. And after that comes your project. Okay, so internship, what will you talk about the internship? Right? Definitely you should talk about what you have learned in the company. Not just how many days you did it and which company you did it with. These are all not very important. They are important, but they are not very important. What is more important? Your experience, your learning. So these things are more important when you talk about your internship. So that the interviewer can understand your maturity only when you talk about your learning and experience. All right. So please do your internships, do it properly, and you should also be able to talk about the internship during your interview. Okay. So talk about it at least for 1 minute. 1 minute is not so easy. It is 60 seconds. So talk about the project that you have worked with. Talk about the kind of work you did it with the company. Talk about the technologies you have worked with. Talk about what maybe the processes that are involved with the project, and talk about the experience. What kind of team members you got? How did you talk to them when there was an issue? How did you handle it? Okay, and what's the dress code of the company? Were you able to cope with it or not? So those are all the organizational culture experiences. So talk about all these things when it comes to internship. Talk about it at least for 1 minute, and then comes your project. Okay, if I'm going to ask a student what is the most important thing in your studies, they will say project, right? But actually, project is the most important, not the first one. Okay, so then you talk about your project. So this will definitely say the title of the project. Maybe if you're doing your project with any company, then it will. I'm not talking about the project companies. Please understand. I'm not telling you go to Tech World, do your project, pay some 6,000 rupees. They will give the ready-made project. No. I'm not at all for that. So do your project. Maybe it is a very, very simple problem, but do it with the help of your teachers. Do it with the help of somebody who's good at coding and other, whatever, any technical stuff. So do it yourself. Okay. So that's my suggestion. Don't ever do your project with any company. Prepare the documentation by your own. Okay. Maybe you will make mistakes and errors. That's all fine. Don't worry about the grammatical errors, but make sure you learn and do it. All right. So when you do all these things, when you can do the project on your own, when you can prepare your project report, definitely you will know what have you done in the project. Okay. So that is called the summary of the project. When there is a project, there is always a problem, right? Only then you have to do a project. So first talk about the problem and talk about how you have decided to get a solution for a problem, what technologies or the methods you have used to achieve the solution, were you able to achieve the solution, what solution you have achieved, and have you implemented the solution real time, was it successful or not. So you can ask so many questions on the project, right? So don't allow the interviewer to ask about it. You explain it. Whatever questions will the HR will ask. You can think about it, prepare answers accordingly, and then present it. All right. So when you talk about internship and project, talking about your experience is very, very important. அதுக்கு நம்ம internship பண்ணணும், நம்மளே project பண்ணணும். That's what I'm trying to say. Okay. So talk about these things. First internship, second project, and then co-curricular activities. See, if your focus is high on internship and project, then slightly touch upon these co-curricular activities. Don't talk too much about it because the HR may get bored of your talk. So just say how many papers you have presented, or where you have presented, on what are the titles of those papers, and maybe the conferences and workshops and seminars you have attended, and the management meets. So just give a gist of it. Don't talk too much about it. But in case you have not done your internship or project properly, or if you have nothing to speak about it, or if you do not know about these two, then this is a way out for you. Talk more about paper presentation. When I say that, it means the title of the paper, the summary of the paper, the place where you have done your paper, and if you have got any prizes, talk about it. All right. So in these 3 or 4 areas, when you want to talk about your paper presentation, the most important thing is the summary. It's like very similar to the project summary, right? So while preparing the paper, you must have read a lot of journals and magazines and articles and whatever research papers, right? So you have to talk about the understanding and what actually you want to say through the paper. So you should elaborately talk about it. At least the summary of the paper must be talked about during your self-introduction. Okay. And also the workshops. Some of us attend workshops, right? So maybe 3 days workshop on hands-on training on Microsoft Excel, hands-on training on C++ programming, right? So you can talk about it, and maybe you can say how many days you have attended and what are the modules covered in that. For example, if it's going to be C++, you can say polymorphism, inheritance, and whatnot. Okay, so you can mention a few modules that are covered during the workshop, and maybe what kind of sample programmings or sample programs are used to explain these concepts. You can slightly touch upon, and all these things should be done when you don't properly talk about internship or workshop. And this should also not exceed 1 minute. Okay, so talk about these things, even management meets and seminars and things like that. Okay, and some are very good in connecting very personally, right? They have the ability to speak very interestingly, right? So those people can even share about a small experience that you had probably during a management meet or something like that, right? So talk about it, make it interesting, connect with the interviewer. Okay, don't allow him to listen to others. He should listen to you. All right, so that's how you have your self-introduction has to be. All right, okay, so we have seen 3 things. One is your educational background, Second is your project and internship. Third is your co-curricular activities. Okay, so these are all related to your studies and your technical aspects. Okay, now I also told you about the other half of the self-introduction, which is your personality. Now look at this. So this is called strengths. You have nothing much with the technical aspects when you talk about strengths, right? So because strengths are either your characters, good characters, or your skills. Okay, so the difference between skill and a character is skill can be developed over a period of time, but the character is actually inborn, right? So honesty is a character. You don't actually build it, because there's always a thirst in you that you have to be an honest person, honest girl or honest woman, right? But that cannot be developed, right? So that's why it's called a character. But footballing can be developed. Speaking, the skill can be developed, right? So those things are called skills. And so see what good characters you have and what good skills you have. Talk about writing is a skill, speaking is a skill, drawing is a skill, singing is a skill, communication is a skill, right? Language proficiency is definitely a skill, right? So characters are punctuality, honesty, whatnot, right? So anything that is good from you, from your birth, is called a character. All right. So talk about these two things, and don't see. There was a funny moment when I asked one of the students long back. I wouldn't say which college he's from, but it's not just I trained only RPS. I've trained so many other colleges across Tamil Nadu. Okay, அதனால எந்த காலேஜ்னு சொல்ல மாட்டேன். பட் ஒரு காலேஜ்ல ஒரு பையன்கிட்ட I've just asked him, what is your strength, தம்பி? And this guy is saying, my brother is my strength. I was like, what is your strength? He said, my brother, sir. Are, how can your brother, who is not in you, he is actually an external person, right? So don't answer that my father is my strength, my brother is my strength, my friend is my strength. Illogical answers. So our strength has to come from within you. Okay, so please remember that. All right. Okay. So those are the things that are about strengths. And one more very important thing is, don't just simply list out your strengths. Tell the HR about your real strengths. Okay. ஏதாவது சொன்னீங்க போய் சொன்னீங்க அப்படின்னா மாட்டிப்பீங்க. All right. Okay. Then comes your achievements. Okay. The next one is achievements. These are the prizes and awards. If you're somebody who has won so many prizes, I have seen many people, not many, some people who have won 80 awards, 80 prizes, 80 medals. Oh my goodness. So don't talk about all those things. Talk about the best 2 or 3. Okay. So, but there are some people who still say, sir, I have never attended any competition, sir. I have never won a prize or award. People say even today. So what would they do? What would they do? But think about it. எல்லாருமே ஏதாவது வாழ்க்கையில பண்ணிருப்பீங்க. All right. So sometimes for some of us, maybe we have won a prize in our local festival. கவனிச்சுக்கிறீங்களா? There was an Independence Day celebration in our maybe in your temple or church or wherever. அங்க ஒரு ரன்னிங் காம்படிஷன்ல தான் சார் நான் வந்து when I was 10th standard I have secured a 3rd prize. It's okay, it's all right. It is still your achievement, right? Because not everybody can become Michael Phelps and what is his name? Usain Bolt, right? So for each of us, achievements, we have our own achievements, right? So that's what I'm trying to mean here. So talk about the best 3 achievements or the best 3 prizes or awards that you have won in the last 5-6 years. Okay, so that's about your prizes and awards, and maybe the last or the previous one. You can talk about extracurricular activities. When you say, see, I have forgotten to tell you something. The word curricular means something that is related to studies, right? Syllabus, curriculum, we call it syllabus or something that is related to studies, right? Now, when you say co-curricular, it is something related to studies. Curriculum related is co-curricular. But when you say extracurricular, it is not related to studies at all. It is something that is not related to studies. Okay, so extracurricular activities are activities that you do. You remember you have taken some on duty for your NSS activity or NCC activity or a blood donation camp, right? So those things are called your extracurricular activities. You might have been a part of your choir. You might have been a part of in your football team. So all those activities where you have mostly taken on duty, or if it's on a holiday, you don't need a on duty, right? But you just go and do it on your own interest. So those things are called extracurricular. Look at this picture. This guy, has gone for. Look at this picture. It's a river bank, and they have cleaned the river bank. And look at, he's the guy, the one in the orange t-shirt. So he was somebody who was very much interested in serving the society also, who is still. And look at this. This is, he was planting a sapling. Right. So he was not a student actually. This was done through another, I think it was done through the youngsters of that particular village or through the church. I don't know. And he's also somebody who was a part of the choir always. Okay, whether it is family choir or the church choir, he'll be there. So these are all called the extracurricular activities. You can talk about some 2 or 3. All right. So don't just say I was a part of NSS, but sir, I have gone for an NSS camp that took place in Uti, and we have, we have cleaned the public toilets of this particular village, and also we have painted the government school which is located in that village. So you have to be very specific of these kind of activities. All right. So don't simply say NCC. I was an NCC guy. Don't stop there. Talk about 1 or 2 activities that you have performed through NCC or through NSS. So that will make more sense, and it will. These are the things that will help you to connect with the interviewer. Because I still remember, I have. Once I was doing the training for Chettinadu Engineering College. Okay, so there are a lot of departments. There are a lot of students, right? I have done training for engineering and also MBA, right? And in the MBA college, there is a guy. I have asked them to do their self-introduction, and there was one guy who has told me that he was a boxer. I can still remember only this guy from that particular class because during the self-introduction, he has introduced himself with a note that he is a boxer. Now, that one point helps me remembering him even today. Okay, so don't think that these are all just extracurricular activities. Maybe your HR is somebody who likes cricket. So if you are going to say I'm an all-rounder in my college cricket team, then definitely it makes an impact. Okay, so talk about it. These are also very important because every company likes to have good human beings because projects are done by human beings, and these human beings are grouped as teams. Okay, so every team you have members, and all these members are only human beings. Okay, so they want good human beings because they want the team to function peacefully and happily. Otherwise, the output will be affected. Okay, so talk about it. This is very important. And the last thing is hobbies. If time permits, talk about it. Otherwise, don't worry about it. But you should also know what is a hobby. Hobby is not Facebooking, WhatsApping, listening to music, and watching movies. These are the usual things that we mention during our hobbies, during our self introduction. But you must also remember that a hobby is a useful activity that you must do during your leisure. Please underline the words a useful activity and leisure. So these two things are important. You should see if it's a useful activity. You should also see if you're doing it during your free time. So if this activity meets these two expectations, then it is called a hobby. Otherwise, listening to music, gone are those days. 10-15 years ago, when there was no such thing called this FM radio, definitely music was a hobby. You could see people with this Walkmans and tape recorder, right? When they get free time, they used to listen. It was pleasant. But nowadays, you get into a company. I have seen this happened in 2007 or 8. There was a company called Cytel India in near the city center, Mylapore. I worked there for some time, and there is a process where the employees can use their earphones, music. They can listen to music while working. So while working, you are listening to it, which means you are always listening to music. How can this become your hobby? And in what way it is helping you? It's a very big question mark. You watch movies, you watch movies. But what is its output? What is its impact on your life? Is it positive? I don't think so. Right? So make sure that you talk about a useful thing that you do during your leisure. All right, maybe like this. Swimming is definitely a hobby. Drawing is a hobby. Coin collection is a hobby. Stamp collection is a hobby. Right? So gardening, a very, very good hobby. Gardening is a very good hobby. So find out what is your hobby, what is your real hobby, and talk about it. Okay, some people say reading books, reading novels. So the next question comes like this. So what was the last novel you read? And this guy blinks. Okay, so make sure that you don't just simply say something or don't steal it from somebody, your friend's resume, because I have seen it. If for example, if a BCom IT guy comes for an interview, he talks about a few things. And after that, his friend walks in for the interview. And he also talks about the same thing. Where did you get this from? This is from my friend's resume. Right? Don't do that. At least you change your father's name and okay, please forgive me for that. But nowadays youngsters are like that. All right. So talk about hobbies. It should be a real hobby. Cooking is not a hobby for girls. Riding bike, if you are riding from home to college and college to home, it's not a hobby. It is your routine. Okay. So, but you have free. There's a fantastic breeze outside. You want to just ride your bike for no reason. That relaxes your mind. You take your bike and go for it, right? Then it is called a hobby. So please, சிலர் அப்படிதான் சொல்லுவாங்க. பசங்களா என்னடா ஹாபி அப்படின்னா பைக் ரைடிங் சார் அப்படின்னு பயங்கரமான நல்லா இருக்கும் போல அப்படின்னு கேட்டா எப்படா பைக் ஓட்டு அப்படின்னா கடைக்கு போறதுக்கு பைக் எடுத்துட்டு போவோம் சார், காலேஜ் வரதுக்கு பைக் எடுத்துட்டு வரோம் சார். தட்ஸ் நாட் ஹாபி. ஓகே. Alright, so please understand it. And for girls, what's your hobby? Cooking, sir. When do you cook? Morning, afternoon, and evening. That's not hobby. Okay. You watch MasterChef Australia on Star, and there is some free time for you, and you think, okay, you should try this new recipe out. Appo pudusa or recipe try pannina, then that's called a hobby. Okay. So please understand the difference and talk about like that, and make sure that it is or a negative impact you should not create. by saying listening to music and watching movies and all. It's all useless hobbies. Okay, right. So in the second half of it, just would like to recap. Strengths. This is related to personality. Your achievements related to personality. Extracurricular activities related to personality. The last part is your hobbies. Okay. So, but I've told you about some 8, 9 things. Correct. See, make sure that you complete your self introduction in 2 to 2.5 minutes, or three, maximum of 3 minutes, if you can make it so interesting about it. But if you're going to prepare a self introduction for 5 minutes, I am sure the HR will not be interested. Okay, so that's where you can cut short somewhere. This hobby and all is not so necessary. So you can cut short if you want to talk more about your project and intention, and also the co-curricular activities. Just make a mention of those things. Don't talk elaborately about those things. All right. So I am very sure that these are all very, very important information about the candidate, that is you, the HR wants to know. Because when you talk about these two areas, two halves of the self introduction, it tells that, okay, I have a good software programmer who knows Python programming very much, and I also have somebody who's a very active guy. He's not just very isolated, or a man who isolates himself, but he is also very outgoing, right? So a good self introduction gives the interviewer to know better about you. Okay, now when you can do it, so many questions that the HR wants to ask you are answered by you without the HR asking you. புரியுது நான் உங்களுக்கு சொல்லுறது. அப்போ you are actually reducing his burden, his stress. Because in a day, about 50 to 60 candidates are interviewed by each HR. Okay, ஒரு நாளைக்கு imagine 60 students, 60 candidates, if they are interviewing, what will be their mindset? Every student say, my name is, my 60 தடவை my name is, they are going to listen to. Do you think the mentality of HR will be all fine? I don't think so. Okay. They are also human beings, right? So in such cases, making your self introduction interesting and also informative is very, very important. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to tell you, girls. All right. So இதெல்லாம் பண்ணுங்க. Probably you will be able to do a good presentation of your self introduction. Okay. So can you see my screen? Can you still see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So because I have stopped presenting my presentation, but I can't see my own picture. That's the reason I'm asking you. Right. Okay, fine. Fantastic. So I would like to ask the girls if you have any questions to ask me, because I forgot to say something. After presenting all these things, please do not forget to say a thank you for listening to my self introduction. Because yes, actually என்ன கேட்டா அவர் ஒரு சாக்ரிஃபைஸ் தான் பண்ணியிருக்காரு 60 பேர்த்தோட செல்ஃப் இன்ட்ரோடக்ஷன்ல. Do you think it's easy? I don't think so. So you must definitely thank him with a pleasant smile. All right, don't ever forget to do it. Okay, right, fine. So do you have any questions, girls? It's okay, you can use any language. தமிழ்லையும் கேட்கலாம், இங்கிலீஷ்லையும் கேட்கலாம், if that's your problem. நான் அதை சொல்ல வரல, பட் ஒரு இன்ஃபர்மேஷனுக்காக சொல்றேன். தமிழ்ல கேட்கறதுனால கேளுங்க, இங்கிலீஷ்ல கேட்கறதுனால கேளுங்க. There is no problem. I'm waiting for you guys. So if I'm going to give you 15 minutes of time and ask any of you to present your self introduction, will you be able to do it? பண்ணுவீங்களா? Don't worry, I'm not going to do that.
Yes, sir.